So welcome back to the next session. So in this session we are going to see the integration of Jenkins, Git and Maven. So we have already seen the basic structure or basic introduction regarding integration and deployment in the previous slide, and we have also seen what actually the Jenkins is, and we have not discussed about Git and Maven, but we know what actually a Git was. It is a tool or a version control system which we can able to store our entire work. Okay, so we will see among these integrations with respect to the continuous integration. So this is what the major objectives of this particular session. We are going to see the advantages of continuous integration and how we can able to create a job in the Jenkins, and what are the benefits of Maven and what actually the Maven, and the process of some integrating all the three things. So on a briefer note, we will see what actually the Jenkins is going to do. So Jenkins is the tool which or a server which is open source, as we said earlier, and it is going to perform the automation part of testing and deployment in software projects. And this role of Jenkins with respect to various things are continuous integration, we can use Jenkins, and continuous delivery or continuous deployment we can able to use Jenkins. And also we have seen we can able to integrate the Jenkins with respect to the version control systems, as I said, Git, SVN, etc., and then plugin ecosystem. So as we have seen the Jenkins respective with the need of the project, we can able to deliver or we can able to include the plugins according to the needs of the project. So one of such plugins are Dockers, Kubernetes and AWS or whatever it is. And then monitoring and reports are also a part of Jenkins. And the most important thing what we have not discussed in that particular session is scalability, security and authentication, and community support. So we will see what actually the scalability means. So scalability is nothing but how the project is going to be scaled. Suppose for example, if we are going to do the minor modifications in the entire project or minor updations, so the scale of updating and integration and releasing is to be very less when compared with respect to the developing a full-fledged project. So if through this Jenkins we can able to scale the size of the project whatever we can able to do. So this can be done with respect to the distributed build. Suppose if you are going to create a huge project, we can able to use this distributed fields, or you can able to create a smaller updations as per the need. And security and authentication, as we have given the roles of each and every user with or each and every individual in the team, so that security and authentication of the project is going to be held with respect to the responsibilities of what we have assigned. And community support, as I said, community support we can able to use this particular Jenkins for a wide range of people, because as it is a open source project. So if you consider Git, a Git can be accessed by n number of people at a time, and they can able to get the same updation at a time once if any update has been done. So that is what we are going to call it as a community support. Next we will see the Git as a version control. So Git is a distributed version control system which is able to cater the need of storing the projects irrespective of their sizes. Okay, so this Git is going to allow multiple developers to work on the same project simultaneously. As I said, we are going to apply the agile principles, so all such agile principles are going to be supported with this version control. So the greatest part and the most beautiful part here is every developer can have their own local copy of the entire project, including with whatever the version history of that project is. See, for example, if we are going to update a project or a website which was existing from the long back, so since the starting version or since the starting part of the website till today, whatever the versions we are having, all such versions are going to be available in the Git. And also we can have the local copy of this particular project. So local copy in the sense whatever the copy what that specific developer is going to update. And also they can able to work on the local copies, and once if any changes have been done, all such changes are to be integrated for the entire team for which that particular Git is going to be distributed. So as I said, a project is distributed to different teams. So once if any update is there from a team, that update is automatically included in that particular Git and visible to the entire team. So that is what the distributed version control system means. And we will see the difference between traditional version control system and distributed version control system. So as we said, SVN, which is called as a subversion, is considered as a traditional version control system. So what does it called as traditional? Why it is traditional? So whenever we are going to call it as a traditional, they are going to have some limitations. So first of all, we have to know what are the limitations of such centralized VCS. So it is a kind of central repository system where we can able to have only a single copy, right? So we will have a single copy and only that copy has to be distributed for everyone, and if any changes have been done, then all the changes are going to be applied for that single copy. But here when it comes to the Git, as it is a distributed version, so no such hiccups may happen, because whenever a distributed server is given, so automatically the work what we have done is going to be stored in that particular Git without having any deviations with respect to the other team members. So as I said earlier, we are going to have individual workspace for each and every person in the Git, but when it comes to the traditional one, it was not going to have any such sort of provisions to be created. So whoever are going to do the modifications, that has to be done on their own, and they have to include in the version which is available for everyone, right? And this is what the Maven is. So Maven is a kind of project management tool which is going to provide the same things what we have seen for the continuous integration and continuous deployment. So the silent features of this Maven are discussed here. So first one is we can able to create the auto parent versioning. So whatever we are going to see the versions, all such versions are also be available in this particular Maven tool. And also depending upon the model, we can able to build the products. And the third one is parallel parallel, or we can call it as the distributed work culture, is going to be applicable with respect to the Maven without having any deviations. And the release management and distribution publication is nothing but incremental releases. So it is also be capable of supporting the incremental releases. And also whenever we the latest features are going to be added, or we have to create any additional configuration, all such configurations can be done with no cost or with minimal price. So that is the main advantage of using Maven. And we can this Maven tool can also be able to or be capable of holding large and growing repositories and the consistent usage across the projects. This is about the overview of Maven. and we have already seen the pipeline concepts in the earlier slide. So what was the difference between the previous session and the session what we are seeing now with respect to the pipeline is, there we have generally discussed what actually the pipeline is. Now we are going to see how such pipelines are going to be integrated in the various phases like CI and CD. In continuous integration, we can able to focus on the code changes to be done by the multiple developers which are in the shared repository. So in this pipeline, what that CI principles are going to be handled are code compilation, unit testing, quality checks, and artifact generation. So compilation is nothing but it is going to verify whether the code is having any syntax errors or not. Then as I said, CI itself is automatically going to generate the unit testing principles, and then code quality checks. It is going to verify the quality issues whether with respect to the code. And then last one is artifact generation. Once after all the above steps have been completed, then it is going to create the artifacts like executable files or libraries. Then pipelines with respect to continuous delivery. So the in continuous delivery or continuous deployment, the pipelines are going to play a major role in production part after successful integration. Production in the sense we can call it as the deployment phase, because it is going to release that version in the market with a version once after the unit testing or the integration has been done. Then here it is going to perform integration testing as I explained now, and also it is going to deploy the product with the automated fashion. So automated fashion in the sense it is going to deploy the product automatically without having any human intervention, and also it is going to perform user acceptance testing. So what was the necessity of user acceptance testing? So whenever a project has been modified, that modification is depending on the needs of user or to cater the facilities to make the usage easy. So ultimately we are going to concentrate on the satisfaction level of the user. So when we can able to get a feedback from the product, that can be able to done with respect to the user acceptance testing, and such user acceptance testing is also performed by the pipeline. And post deployment steps, like as I said, updations or whatever the versions we have developed, and such versions are going to be stored, and that versions are moved to the databases for permanent storage, and all those things will comes under the post deployment steps. And pipeline orchestration, as I said, we are going to involve the pipelines, or we are going to see different sort of tasks which are to be integrated together to form a specific flow. Such flow is going to be taken care with respect to the pipeline orchestration method. And here we are going to have some tools like Jenkins, GitLab CL, etc. GitLab CA, etc. All such tools are going to perform the same task of pipeline orchestration. And artifact repository. So we have seen what are the artifacts to be developed in the continuous integration phase. All such artifacts are going to be stored in the pipelines, and this pipeline can be able to provide as a configuration, as we have seen infrastructure as a code in the earlier session. Here we can able to create a pipeline as a code. So the tools which are going to help for such particular process are Jenkins file, etc. and triggering pipeline. So we will see what actually the triggers are. So we know the trigger is nothing but the automated action which able to perform with respect to a comment or a command. So based on the commands we can able to perform the actions by automated process. See, for example, if we can able to create a project like to give a warning symbol. Suppose if 500 users are accessing the same application, then it is going to count the users which are accessing that particular website. Once if it was crossing 500, it is going to create the warning message that the service cannot be provided you as the server is busy. So all such things are called as triggers, means the actions performed based on the commands, or we'll call commands, or we can call it as instructions. So all these things are to be pipelined automatically with respect to the pipelines. And we have seen the monitoring and logging. So as I said, once after the integration has been done and deployment has been done, we have to collect the feedback to address the changes or to address the modifications to be done or appreciations we have got. And this is how we can able to configure Jenkins with respect to the Maven. So first we have to log in into the Jenkins and we have to create the job. So why we are creating a job? Because we are using another tool which is called as Maven to be integrated with respect to the Jenkins. So we have to create a job in such a way that we have to attach the Maven to this particular project. So the second one is installation and configuration of Maven. So once after the Maven has been configured, we have to create the configuration of Jenkins, Git and Maven. So what Jenkins we can able to create, we will run on the Java environment, and Maven is a tool for creating the continuous integration and deployment, and all the modifications have been done with respect to the Java environment and Maven tool are going to be stored in the Git as a version control. So we have to configure the path in such a way that all these three should be in line with each other. Next, creation of the Jenkins job, and also we have to poll the Git commands to for the trigger to be built, because either we have to test the product what we have done with respect to the integration part. So we have to build a trigger. After trigger has been completed, we have to use the push mechanism instead of pull mechanism. So what is push mechanism? We have described in the earlier session that we have to execute once every change has been successfully updated. So we have to repeat the 5 and 6 steps until all the tasks have been successfully completed according to the need. Okay, so this is the self-assessment questions which you can able to expect from the session, and as we said, these are the references for the entire topic. Thank you.